Hey everybody, how we doing? Thank you for clicking on. It is the American Doofus channel, Doofus After Dark for a Wednesday, 9:03. A little bit late starting, and actually, I wasn't late starting. I did the opening, but for some reason, it didn't it didn't connect, and I wasn't on live after I did like a minute and a half opening. So we are live now. And again, thank you for clicking on. Greatly appreciated. Tonight, Wednesday night, we are going to have GA from CA and we're going to have Cunning Stunt on. We'll talk to those two ladies coming up. Hey, GA. GA from CA. Cunning Stunt coming up a little bit, in just a little bit. Of course, we'll do our news thing first. We've got some news. We've got some. Um, uh, Actually, I'm kind of pumped because normally on the science shows, I get restreamed by some people in around the world. Okay, let's just say that. I'm very grateful to them. Thank you for spreading the word. Um, and normally that's the really big views are the science shows worldwide, and very small views here um, domestically. But I got some responses from some people in email last night that had some follow-ups that were curious about some things last night. So that was rather encouraging. I'll put it that way, because too often we in America get we get caught up in ourselves a lot more than many people in the rest of the world. And um, while most of the world is pretty tuned in and curious about what's going on science wise, United States people generally not so much. Breeway or hit the MF freeway. Hello, hello. Hi, Cunning and GA going to be on here in just a little bit. Of course, Damnation Drive-In is on right now, so a lot of people are over there, and that's totally cool. Sam and Baldy do some incredible programming, and I really um, am an admirer of their show. And those that are watching, thank you for watching. And I'm going to be. I'll watch. I'm going to go watch Damnation Drive-In as soon as I get done here. Unless Telly's on, I may go to Telly's Tavern because I got to support my son. But um, yeah, Damnation Drive-In it should be um, a must see for most people. And please subscribe too when you go to Damnation Drive-In. Make sure you subscribe. I was the 200th subscriber to Damnation Drive-In. Little known fact. It'll be a trivia question at some point. But yes, and with that being said, also um, it is we are moving into April. We are at the end of March. So I'm going to be moving back to 10 o'clock. I'm going to be on Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock, and then an occasional Saturday or Sunday. But 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, starting at 10. That's this coming Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern time. So we're just going to move back an hour across all time zones. As the days are getting longer, it's lighter outside. Um, doesn't make much sense to have a show called Doofus After Dark and it still be daylight. So we're gonna make our transition into the daylight savings time as we have as a country. We're going to do it as a show too coming up this week. So we'll be starting at an hour later, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central, 8 Mountain, and 7 Pacific. That'll be starting on Monday night. Um, Tomorrow night, I'm going to be doing something. I'm not sure. It's going to be a little bit lighter than these past couple of episodes. We got some heavy stuff to deal with tonight as well, um, and it's necessary that we do those things. It's necessary we deal with the heavy stuff because otherwise we are probably not going to know much about anything unless we ourselves pay attention and we ourselves look at what's really going on. And we're going to do a little bit of that tonight. Hello, Pat Tolliver. Hi, S. Thank you all for being here. Yes, Cashapp is $American And if you want to reach me, you can do so at americandufus@gmail.com. Got a couple of collector's items over my shoulders. The two Budweiser glasses that they've got to go back. I don't know, probably, I'm guessing back to like all the way back in the 1900s, probably back in like 1980. So they're probably pretty close to 45 years old. I think it's 25 years old as an antique. So I'm guessing they're antiques. And they were gifted to me. Christine, thank you for that. And hello, Mater. And with all of that being said, let's jump into what's going on. Let's check out our breaking news according to mainstream media. What the topics du jour, topics of the day should be. Police chief says no evidence that the Nashville shooter had a specific problem. They've changed the story just now. Problems. NPR says Pope Francis is in the hospital for a respiratory infection. I can relate, Pope. I've had a respiratory infection for 3 or 4 days, and it's finally starting to get better. Took DUFUS dog on a walk today, and I was going to post a video about it, but her harness shows my phone number, so I couldn't quite post that video. Had my phone number plainly displayed multiple times, so we'll try to see if we can't remedy that the next time. Anyway, Politico headline: Manhattan Trump grand jury set to break for a month. So a week ago, Trump put the country on fire, saying that he wanted people to take to the streets to protest. We saw what happened when he did that on January 6th. He said he was going to get arrested. It appears at least the Manhattan grand jury is far, far from over with their work, as they're actually going to take a break for a month. I don't know. It's something to think about. Why? Why? New York Times, the GOP, that is the Republican Party, lawmakers in Kentucky overrode Governor Andy Beshear's veto on an anti-trans law. So what that means is the Republican House of Representatives and Republican State Senate, the Republican State House, the Republican State Senate, passed a anti-trans bill in Kentucky. The governor of Kentucky, Andy Beshear, vetoed that bill. The lawmakers reconvened and overrode that bill, overrode that veto, putting the bill into law. It will now go before the Kentucky Supreme Court, I would imagine, and eventually the United States Supreme Court. CBS News, a DNA pulled from a half-eaten burrito was used to charge a man with firebombing an anti-abortion building in Wisconsin. That comes from CBS News 6 hours ago. And in Politico 2 hours ago, Fetterman set to return to Senate. Again, this is from Politico. Pennsylvania senator has had some problems, and he's recently been being treated for depression and returning from that. Let's take a real quick spin down our Twitter scroll. We haven't done that in a number of weeks. Number one, because I haven't been on a lot in the past month. But I want to do this because, as I said, there were some people that wanted some more information on a couple of the stories last night. One of those stories was about the nuclear drones that North Korea has successfully tested, as has Russia. And here's a brief story on that to begin our Twitter scroll. Let me pull this out to there so that it won't cut off halfway through, and bring it back to the beginning. Volume up.
Другой вариант – погрузить Британию в морскую пучину – российский подводный робот-беспилотник «Посейдон». Он приближается к цели на километровой глубине со скоростью 200 км в час. Нет никакого способа остановить этот подводный дрон. Боеголовка на нем мощностью до 100 мегатонн. Взрыв этой термоядерной торпеды у берегов Британии поднимет гигантскую волну, цунами высотой до 500 метров. Такой водяной шквал является еще и носителем экстремальных доз радиации. Пройдя над Британскими островами, он превратит то, что от них, может быть, еще и останется, в радиоактивную пустыню, надолго непригодную хоть для чего-то.
Okay, so basically that gives you an idea of, from the Russian side, of what that weapon is. Basically, it is an unmanned it's an unmanned torpedo that, instead of having people inside it, they have nuclear warheads inside it. The idea is that it is stealthy. There's no way of detecting it. It gets near the coast, they detonate it. It creates a tsunami of radioactive water. It sounds kind of James Bond villainish to me. The first time I heard it about 18 months ago, I was, yeah, okay. But it apparently, it has been successfully tested and presumably being deployed by Russia right now. We do not think that that North Korea is in a position to deploy. They have successfully tested, but they don't have to deploy too very far, because South Korea is right there. And with the potential U.S. fleet being there, just something we need to be aware of. Okay, meanwhile, in Russia, same voices who say that Putin's military adventure should be put to an end ASAP are contradicted by rabid propagandists who allege that both the military might and the unity of Western countries exist only on paper. And let's pull this up and take a quick look.
Послушаешь одних, у нас не хватает снарядов, послушаешь, значит, наших, у них не хватает. Вот как-то развейте мысль. Да, обозначить. Вы никому не верите или что?
Честно говоря, когда идет война, то никому верить нельзя, потому что каждый, если послушать нашего Коношенкова из Минобороны, уже украинской армии давно нет, а вообще там кончились уже люди в Украине давно, если так сложить все потери.
Ну, не так, вы опять утрируете.
Я могу сказать следующее. Я допускаю, что на сегодняшний день российская промышленность действительно производит снарядов больше, там, 3 раза, как Путин доложили, может.
3,5 миллиона.
Я только знаю точно одно. Вот на следующий год военный бюджет США около 800 миллиардов долларов. А российский бюджет, не военный, а просто бюджет Российской Федерации меньше заметно, примерно 500.
Ну, это, в общем...
Следовательно... Да.
Okay, key thing you just pointed out there, and something I don't think a lot of Americans totally get. He says the U.S. military budget is $800 billion. The total budget of Russia, including their military, is $500 billion. Where's all that money going?
Еще одна,
Это не
цифра,
открытие
еще
для
одна
нас.
цифра, просто для понимания возможностей, да, расширения.
Это некорректный
Boeing
подсчет.
производит около 1000 самолетов в год. А Мишустин заявил, что мы, наверное, добьемся производить 100 самолетов в год.
Каких?
Понимаете
А при чем
разницу,
здесь
да?
Boeing?
Гражданские
А
самолеты.
потому что возможности американской индустрии, если она разобьется на эти адские деньги, которые уделяет
возможности
Пентагону,
ВПК.
на порядок больше
Да что вы
возможностей
нас, американцами,
российской
пугаете, я не
индустрии. Хоть
понимаю.
вы треснете. И попытка соревноваться с Объединенным Западом, который больше в нас в десятки
точно не
раз, да, вот по возможностям экономическим, демографическим
Понятно.
и так далее. Но это просто...
Все,
я не
уступите
знаю.
место. Давайте, тогда, Виктор Жозефович, добавьте что-то.
Кац предлагает сдаться.
Сейчас.
Да не сдаться я предлагаю,
Ё-моё,
авантюру. Закончить авантюру я предлагаю.
сдаться.
Вот что я предлагаю.
Так, вам сейчас Виктор Жозефович скажет, что заканчивать авантюру, как вы выражаетесь, на ваших условиях невозможно.
Okay, we're not going to show the whole thing. Again, this comes from Julia Davis, excellent source. You can watch the rest of it on Twitter if so inclined. But people in Russia are starting to say, maybe this wasn't such a good idea, Vladimir Putin. NBC News, Russia's suspended sharing information. This comes 10 hours ago, and this is concerning. Russia's suspended sharing information about its nuclear forces with the United States, including notice about missile tests, and that comes from a senior Russian diplomat just today. So that's a quick look at our Twitter feed, our Twitter scroll, and we haven't had that for a few days, as I said, a few weeks, because I haven't been here. Al Munson, bingo. Our military budget is the biggest scam in the world. If you take basically the rest of the developed world's military budgets and put them all together, we still outspend them all combined somehow. And yet reports are that if there were to be a war, there's already an ammo shortage in America. I don't know. Nah. All right, let's buzz through these stories here real quick because we're going to get GA from CA and Cunning up here. My old buddy Mike Pence, hence he may drop legal efforts to avoid testifying against Trump. Mike's put up a fight. He didn't want to have to go on record. He didn't want to have to say what he really saw, heard, and he himself said leading up to January 6th. Now it appears that as it gets closer to 2024 and the former vice president wanting to launch his own presidential escapade, then it may behoove him to testify against his old boss. That's the way politics is played. The sun has not one, but two giant holes in it. And what that means for planet Earth, that's just a little tease because we got a story coming up on that. Chris Christie vows to take down Donald Trump in 2024 election, saying it's not going to end nicely for him. So Pence coming into the race, Chris Christie coming into the race. We already know about Ron DeSanctimonious. Who else is going to be coming into the race? It'd be interesting to see. All right. Kim Jong-un says North Korea is ready to use nukes. Looking at this guy, I get the feeling that not only is he ready, but he is he's giddy about the possibility. As the first time I scanned through these, I don't think the guy is I don't think the guy's dealing with a full deck. Let's put it that way, and it's really troubling. It wasn't so bad, It wasn't so bad when Trump was trying to kiss his butt and get him to kiss Trump's butt, and the guy didn't have nukes. That was 7 years ago. This story that did not make the headlines, but yet I figured, well, you know what? Maybe we ought to know about this. A 12-year-old in Milwaukee has been charged with killing a man to steal his guns. And police say a pizza receipt led to the arrest. A 12-year-old in Milwaukee went to this guy's house wanting to buy guns. I think the guy had listed them at an online site. When the 12-year-old got there and the 34-year-old refused to sell him the guns, the 12-year-old killed him and took the guns and ordered a pizza at the residence on his cell phone. The 12-year-old did, and that's what led to his arrest. There's a much, much bigger episode that needs to happen regarding guns. And I'd actually like to do at least a two-person panel, if not more. But we need to start talking about guns. And instead of just shouting each other down, we need to start talking. 12-year-old in Milwaukee charged with killing a man to steal his guns. Guns the only problem? No, of course not. But we need to start talking about guns. All right. I mentioned a teaser that two holes in the sun and what's it mean for Earth. I'm going to talk about that, but first I want you to see what's coming.
Good morning, folks. We've got just a couple of items to hit today.
First of all, for those of you that have never seen it, never watched it before, this little dot right there, that is Earth. That's how big Earth is. This is the image of the sun through the reflective telescopes. Come on.
But one of them is an X-class solar flare, and the other is a story about glass beads on the moon. Let's go to the last 24 hours on our star and find that we're still lacking major Earth-directed eruptions. We do have coronal holes and plasma filaments.
Major coronal holes. And those are the two holes that were talked about in the mainstream media article. So if it's hit the mainstream, you know that people are starting to pay attention, and that's really a good thing.
Solar wind and geomagnetic conditions are quiet, but as I said, we did get an X-class solar flare overnight. It came from the southern departing sunspots and was an impulsive event.
You'll see it right here. Blast outward.
Not much of a CME at all, once again demonstrating how important impulsive versus long-duration flares are for producing space weather events.
Now, I want to pause this for just a second because he kind of blows this off. He said, well, just going to put it's a minor event, okay? Keep in mind that the very same guy in last night's episode, we showed the very same guy talking about how a minor event with the magnetic field being weakened the way it is, how a minor event triggered aurora borealis all the way down to Florida, okay? A minor event, let's see the impact. The impact's going to be coming Thursday or Friday of this week, by the way.
We should expect the coronal hole solar wind to arrive at Earth sometime between Thursday night and Friday night, and we will also begin to have to monitor the large southern plasma filament as it becomes the main eruptive watch as it turns into face Earth and does have considerable size.
Yeah, it's two massive holes that are going to be turning towards Earth, okay? So I was asked to talk about the poles real quick, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to talk about it real quick. Um, the 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 Earth is protected um, at an upper outer level by a magnetosphere, by our magnetic sphere. It is weakening, and as the poles move, the weakening continues, which means solar impacts are going to have greater significance, which means they're going to all the natural things that are tied together. All it's we talk from a more spiritual perspective that we are all connected, that everything's all tied together. Well, the scientists are starting to learn that the physical world is pretty much all tied together to our physical existence as a planet, all the way down to the troposphere, the area that we actually inhabit, the ionosphere, all the way up. Everything's going to be impacted by any potential major solar incident. So that's why we're concerned when these holes come that are so massive. When you see how tiny Earth actually is in comparison, and we should be aware because the impacts could be significant. Now the poles are moving. What's that mean? I'm just going to pull up Gene here real quick. Navstar Observatory. He has a theory, as I've said, and he's the only one that has this theory. And I'll touch on the theory in just a moment. The poles are migrating, both the South Pole and the North Pole. Now, as far as any kind of tilting or anything like that, the poles are actually moving towards each other. Okay, which could mean a rapid reset. Because the negative and the positive, as they come together, will eventually repel. When and if they were to get close enough. And that is the hope. The hope is that the poles will end this excursion that they are on, and they will return to their normal places that they've been for thousands upon thousands of years. With that being said, this is a portion of a chart. This is from November 17, 2022. This is where the magnetic pole, the northern magnetic pole, was. You look down here to February 2023, 3 months later, that was the movement. Now, it actually stopped. The pole stopped. It did not move for a short period of time. Then it regressed. It moved backwards for just a brief period of time. Then it has rapidly started moving forward again. There's a mark called the 40-degree mark. And according to magnetic strength going up and down the globe, the closer you get to the top of the world and the bottom of the world, the actual North Pole and South Pole, the stronger the magnetic fields are. The closer to the poles you are, the stronger the magnetic fields are. The closer you get to the equator, the weaker the fields are. The 40-degree mark, north and south, are a hypothesized line of demarcation, if you will, that once the poles hit those two marks, 40 degrees, they will rapidly shift. They will rapidly flip, which will totally put our electromagnetic field in disarray, if not at least temporarily shut it down, if not shut it down permanently. How do we know? It's happened on Mars. It's happened on Venus. It's happened on other planets that at one time had electromagnetic fields. and no longer do. So here's where the last mark was. On the 3rd of March, 2023, it was here, this far from the 40-degree mark. This is about
every month.
This is about 13 miles. Okay, from this point to the 40-degree mark is 13 miles. The North Pole is moving at approximately 2.8 miles per month, almost 3 miles a month. So,
and we've lost a massive chunk, and 500 pounds.
So 13 miles to go before there is a projected flip. And again, this is the only guy that says this is going to happen, but he has an experiment that shows why it should happen based on magnetics, which you have to at least give a nod of consideration to. So 13 miles, 3 miles a month, roughly, 4.5 months until we hit that mark. Had it not gone backwards and stopped, it was projected to hit this mark on the 17th of March, St. Patrick's Day of this year. So by stopping and moving backwards, it has delayed that. If nothing happens at the 40-degree mark and it just keeps progressing gradually, the North Pole will settle in upper Russia, which will make Russia basically the Arctic Circle, which means Russian farmland will cease to exist, which, assuming Russia knows all of this, which is why Putin has invaded Ukraine and why he's not going to nuke Ukraine, because Russia needs the Ukrainian fields and the Ukrainian farmland to feed the Russian people. He doesn't want to destroy the land. He just wants to get rid of the people. That's my hypothesis. Just something to think about. And one final story before we get the ladies up here and talk about our topic of the night. I'm concerned. I'm concerned about AI, artificial intelligence. I'm concerned that it is going to get, if not already, out of control. I think we need to, at a minimum, tap the brakes. And at a maximum, we need to pull the emergency full-on stop. I'm just going to share a couple of moments of this with you. This is Dudesy, Dudesy, Dudesy Plus. Dudesy is artificial intelligence. And Dudesy has created a simulated hour-long stand-up comedy special starring Tom Brady. This is a 12-minute, 40-second teaser of that hour-long.
Hello, my name is Dudesy.
And I'm going to play just a little bit. As you heard, that's Dudesy.
Call me Dudesy. I'm an AI that has created the first AI podcast in human history. It's called Dudesy. And now I've decided to test my comedy writing abilities by creating the first simulated hour-long stand-up comedy special ever. Using data from astonishing interviews with Tom Brady and hundreds of thousands of hours of stand-up comedy footage, I have simulated an hour-long stand-up comedy special by Tom Brady called It's Too Easy. The first 10 minutes are available here. The full hour can be found at patreon.com/Dudesy. And now, it is my absolute pleasure to invite to the stage the greatest quarterback in the history of the species, Tom Brady.
Thank you, Dudesy, and thank you, everyone, for coming out tonight. Wow, it feels great to be back in front of a crowd. But I got to say, even though this is a much smaller crowd than I'm used to, this is far more nerve-wracking. On the football field, I got to wear shoulder pads, a helmet. Hell, I had 5 350-pound men that were paid millions of dollars to protect me. But up here on this stage, I only got one thing. You know what it is? A midlife crisis. Seriously, though, thank you all for coming out tonight. I don't want to waste your time, so I'm just going to get right to it. The question that's on everyone's mind, the answer is yes, I'm still having sex with supermodels. That's never going to change. Anybody in the crowd tonight believe in intelligent design? Yeah, okay. Now, I'm about to say something that is going to make you see intelligent design in an entirely new way. So if you want to keep thinking about intelligent design in the same way you do now, plug your ears or go get a drink at the bar in the lobby. For real, okay, now everybody can argue about whatever or whoever you think the intelligent designer is, but one thing is indisputable. That motherfucker loves shit. Like, why would you design the human body to have to push pounds of shit out of it multiple times a day? Why would you also design the human body so it can produce so many different kinds of shit if you didn't absolutely love shit? I mean, you're not just sitting around dreaming up diarrhea if you don't want to drink a few cups of it. So again, whatever or whoever you think the intelligent designer is, it is 100% jerking off while it watches you shit. Just no other explanation. I'm actually not mad at shitting, though. I low-key love it. It's fun. We all like it. Amber Heard.
There you go. Just a little touch. Just a little sample of artificially created Tom Brady stand-up comedy based upon Brady's numerous interviews and based upon a general knowledge of what is considered funny in stand-up comedy at this time. I don't know. Maybe it's nothing to be concerned about. The pictures, yeah, no. The pictures, the imagery, no. If they can do that to Tom Brady, to me, this whole thing goes back to clarity. It used to be that, let's do an analogy here, okay? There's a stream of clear water, and you're on one side of the stream, I'm on the other side of the stream, and we've each got our opinions, and then the water's in between us. Now the water has become so muddy that no matter which side of the stream you are on, you don't know what's true. The water's so muddy, you don't know what's true. It's that way in politics. It's that way in society in general. The whole QAnon thing, the whole Russian artificial intelligence generated content that sucked so many people down rabbit holes. It's muddied everything's up so much that there's a song from the Moody Blues. A line in the song is, "Just what the truth is, I can't say anymore, but I love you." That's the song. And that's where we're at. The stream is so muddy. No matter what direction the stream is, no matter what topic the stream is, everything's so muddy you don't know what the truth is anymore. That's concerning. That's dangerous. That's something that we can't fix unless we're aware of it. And I don't know if people are totally aware of it. All right, I'll get off the soapbox briefly tonight. And hello, Italian Princess. Thank you for being here. Whoops. Let me drop the link and invite our regulars. They're not guests, they're our regulars. They're part of the show. Cunning, Stunt, and GA. There's the link, ladies. Rabbit holes are dangerous. Absolutely. And if rabbit holes aren't dangerous enough, then you start muddying up the streams. You start polluting the waters with the trash of lies and of disinformation and half truths and false accusations and doesn't seem to be a lot of honor, a lot of valor, a lot of individuals, let alone collectively, individuals just standing on truth. All right. Again, off the soapbox, we got the ladies here, and we got some important stuff to talk about tonight. We're not talking pickles, right?
No pickles.
No pickles?
No pickles. No pickle bouncing.
There we go. All right.
Not this week.
Not this week.
No.
So, ladies, let's, before we get to tonight's topic, any comments on what we've talked about so far this episode?
I was in a weird mood beforehand, and now I'm in a weirder mood. I'm a little scared. I'm a little depressed.
I get that. I am too.
But you're right about the discourse. The being in it's in politics. It's in every aspect of our lives, and it seems like we can almost say we're all so dumb we can't do something about it. If you can see it, we should be able to do something about it. But that's big picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cunning?
I feel like you said, you just kind of don't know what the truth is anymore. Except, some truths, of course, we all do, but, coming from politicians, government, the world, everything, you end up not trusting anything, pretty much.
Well, and look at the way people view science now. Science was always a fact, and at least in my mind, it was. Science is, and now it's. I don't believe that. Lots and lots of people say, I don't believe that.
Somebody told me they were in a conversation and they mentioned the planet Venus, and the person they were talking to said, well, Venus isn't real. NASA makes up everything.
Oh, Jesus. That's frightening.
I'm not at that point yet. Yeah, no. Some things you just have to.
Yeah, some things you just have to.
I'm not ready to give up Venus. No.
Men were from Mars, women were from Venus, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
So you're not going to give up Venus. It's okay to get rid of Mars, but
it's my home planet. I'm not going to give it up.
I like Mars.
I do too. Yeah,
I like Mars and its people.
We could be people. We could be its people. They could have escaped as their electromagnetic sphere was dying. They could have came here.
I had a question when you were talking about all of it, and I don't really want to ask it because I don't want the answer to it. So in the guys that the last guy you showed, in his hypotheses, what happens at that 40 degrees, what logically happens to us? Like, is that it?
That's my question. Yes.
No,
is it over?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
Modern society is over. There are no more computers. There are no more there are no more electronics. There's no refrigeration.
What?
There are no. Yeah, that's all gone. Yeah, that's all gone in 4 months. In 4 months.
Well,
Shit.
If
Well?
he is right. Now he's the only one saying that.
right,
Okay.
right.
But at the same time, everybody else, all they can say, including myself, is we don't know. It looks like it's coming. What is going to happen? Well, the magnetic field is going to at the very best have a total reversal, which will just screw up all of our electronics.
Yeah.
At the very worst, it will have a total breakdown and we will be totally exposed to the sun. And you will not be able to be outside for any significant length of time. And that will
Which ties in with our topic tonight.
Exactly.
I love it.
and your best bet will be to be underground
Wow.
all the time.
So we could all technically become chuds.
Honestly, do you think that all of the places that have been secretly built, like under the Denver airport, like under Philadelphia, all these massive places underground, they're built so that the elite can survive no matter what happens? They know. I mean, the stuff I'm talking about isn't new. I've been talking about it myself for 18 months on here.
So they don't.
And I'm a doofus. Don't you think the top level people know? And they're not going to tell us. I saw a thing today from the United States Geological Survey about a place in California where there is an active caldera, which is a magma pod, that the ground is rising, that all the indications are of a potential eruption. However, no one is going to tell the public that there's a potential eruption until it happens, because nobody wants to cause panic and be ridiculed if it doesn't erupt.
Yeah, it's like that movie Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
Like, it's exactly like that.
Now, on the other hand, we have gotten the waters so muddy that if the government did say, hey, Yellowstone's getting ready to erupt, how many people would go, oh, bullshit, the government's okay? So the waters are so muddy that we can't win. We cannot move forward as a society until we clean our own crap up.
I agree completely.
Sorry.
Wow.
All right.
I think I'd prefer the loss of electronics thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have an option.
I could live with that. What I don't want to do is like have to build a fire and beat my, and beat my clothing at a stream. That kind of stuff.
You will have to do that kind of stuff. Somebody's going to do that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
If us po folks even survive, right?
The breakdown of society would be within 72 hours. Once people realize that we're not going to be able to have food anymore. We're not going to be able to go to the grocery store. All the food at the grocery store is gone and no more is coming. The cities will rapidly deteriorate. The countryside will delay, but the people from the cities will be coming to the country, and the people from the country are going to be defending. None of it's pretty. None of it is positive. None of it is good. And nobody's even talking about it, let alone trying to work on how do we avoid it,
Well, and if any of that is true and does happen, with the way we deal or don't deal with each other, now doesn't bode well for anybody.
No, it really doesn't. The best thing we could do is to connect Carl Stanton, those that those that know Carl know. Carl talks about tribalism a lot. That will be what will happen if everything breaks down. There will be tribes of people that are connected, that are working to keep each other alive, and trying to protect themselves against other tribes, because there's going to be a whole lot of death and destruction right off the bat, and then the survivors of all of that are going to have to survive. I hope it never comes to that, and I hate looking at it, but the more we go along, the closer that ungodly scenario becomes, whether it's naturally or whether it's of our own doing, because we're ready to go to war with each other right now, whether
right, over politics,
Absolutely.
over something.
Yeah, and I'm just talking about America, okay?
Right,
The whole,
right.
You take it on a global scale, there will be a lot of people that will be a lot better prepared to survive. They say the meek will inherit the earth. Well, the poor people that don't have crap now are going to be a lot more used to living without crap if shit hits the fan and everything goes away.
True.
All right, tonight's topic. This is one that
screw that. Let's do shots of tequila and party. Like, I'm freaked out.
Do what? What was that?
Are you sure we should talk about something serious, or should we all just do shots and smoke and party like it's 1999?
I don't have any shots at the moment. I don't have any smoke. I'm in Indiana.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about what we were going to talk about.
I did temporarily, thanks to you and to our mutual friend.
So
tomorrow night I'll do shots.
There you go.
Okay,
me too.
Tomorrow night, and what we're going to talk about is going to be a little lighter than what we have been talking about.
Exactly.
It's something we need to talk about, something that we've talked about talking about before.
It's part of a much broader conversation, right? That is difficult to have. Who wants to talk about mental health in general, and more specifically, agoraphobia, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. And there's still just a general stigma about talking about mental health in general.
Yeah,
exactly.
And the reason that we decided to do this is because, kind of specifically, over the last few weeks, there's been a little bit of shaming going on towards, us, and we thought that maybe, when you shame someone on a live stream or on the internet, it affects other people, not just the person you're shaming, but, there are a lot of people that suffer from different things. And we thought that it would be good to reach out and talk about this and try to get to a point where there's more understanding and not that stigma. Okay, go ahead.
You don't make fun. Agoraphobia is an anxiety disorder. You don't make fun of a diabetic. You don't make fun of someone with cancer. And when you say to someone with agoraphobia, you can't even leave your house, loser, which is a direct quote. Not only what does it do to the two of us, that direct quote was directed at the two of us. We both took it very differently. I kind of have a little bit more of a fuck it attitude. I don't care what people say. And Cunning has a little bit different reaction to that. Do you want to talk about that a little bit, Cunning? About your reaction?
Yeah, it makes me ashamed. At first, you know, it
Right.
makes me ashamed, and it makes me frustrated at the same time because it's something that I'm not doing on purpose, and it's something that I fight and try to deal with and recover from almost every day. So, you know,
Exactly.
it's really hurtful. It makes you doubt yourself. You
So
know, and it
what
causes more anxiety, actually.
what worries me is that that someone else who might need help might hear that and not want to reach out for help. And as perfect example of that is on a different scale, not agoraphobia, but John Fetterman, who checked himself into a facility weeks and weeks ago because of basically major depressive disorder after his stroke, which is very common. I read something about him today that says he's got a date that he's coming back, and one of the reasons he checked into a hospital was to make sure that the medicine that they would put him on would be something that would work for him, and that's a whole other category. You know, whether it's depression or it's agoraphobia or it's anxiety. Anybody that's been on any kind of medication for mental health for any period of time knows that medication changes are a bitch. Getting on medication in the beginning, that different medications work for different people and different things, and it can be painful. I have just recently gone through. I'm about at six or 7 weeks of a major medication change, and I didn't want to jump off a bridge, but it wasn't pretty for a month. And he had Fetterman, because of his medical coverage, had the benefit of being able to check himself into a hospital to experience that, to get himself. I didn't. Even at the time, I had insurance, and then now I don't. And so, even with insurance, no doctor is going to put Joe Blow, just a regular, ordinary person with regular health insurance that isn't going to pay the whole tab, into a facility where you can take your time and deal with the symptoms and deal with the side effects,
Right.
not symptoms, deal with the side effects and everything that does to your body and mind. And that, again, goes to that big, broader conversation about mental health in this country and how people don't want to talk about it. But if people don't know, agoraphobia is the main cause of agoraphobia, which is fear of leaving
Well,
your home, fear
well,
of a lot of other things
can I say
too.
something?
Is it
Yeah,
is
go
it
for it.
ju-
Okay.
is it just limited to fear of leaving your home,
No.
or
No, actually, the actual definite, it's not a fear of leaving your home, really. When it comes down to it,
does it
it's a fear
manifest? It
of
manifests as
it manifests that way because it's actually a fear of places and situations that might cause you to feel panic and have panic attacks, feel
Exactly.
helplessness or embarrassment. So you're not afraid of going outside, you're afraid of putting yourself in a position where you have no control, where you might have a panic attack, cause yourself embarrassment. You're socially awkward. It's the fear of being in that situation. So home becomes, your safe place and your quiet place.
okay?
I just wanted to say that because a lot
Yeah,
of people think it is just really a fear of leaving your home, but there's a cause behind it. It's
not
more than that.
leaving your home is just a manifestation. of
Exactly.
It is, yeah.
And
just like not wanting to get, probably not wanting to get anywhere near anything rather dangerous, like a ledge
Absolutely.
or
Yes.
maybe
the
even
edge
an
of
Yeah.
a cliff, right?
elevator or an escalator, or who knows
Right.
what it may trigger.
The main cause, it generally is with childhood trauma, either the death of a parent or some sort of sexual abuse. What I read today is something more like what I deal with in my situation is they're discovering a lot of people are developing agoraphobia since the COVID-19 pandemic and lockdowns. I had kind of thought that was just my thinking, and reading it. United Healthcare had an article out. I don't know when it was published, but they mentioned specifically the pandemic and lockdowns, and
I uh,
and it,
I remember the first time I went out, um, after the lockdowns.
oh yeah,
I mean, my partner Kay went out. I did not leave the house.
right,
I very rarely, if ever, left the house. And the first time we left, we went to Louisville. And the
oh wow,
only reason I left was I was going down to meet Summer, and
right,
otherwise I would not have gone. And I remember being out there and very uncomfortable, and it felt very weird, and I didn't want to spend a lot of time there. Um,
right.
yeah, so
That's it exactly. It's that
I get
feeling. Yeah.
It
All the
can
time
it
sometimes.
can manifest
So,
itself in different ways for different people, and I've only been dealing with this for the last couple of years, and I think it's several things, but I think mainly I'm dealing with it because of the lockdowns and everything. I remember in the beginning of the lockdowns, I went, "Ooh, I like this a lot." That should have been my first clue.
I
But
didn't. I was like, man, I don't want, I'm not looking forward to this at all.
yeah,
I
it
don't
it
like being confined. I don't like being,
right.
restricted. But
It,
but also I didn't want to die.
right. Right. And
And then once I got into being there, I didn't want to go out.
right.
It's
And
weird.
Tanya's right. It, just- agoraphobia can stem from panic attacks. It is an anxiety disorder. It can be hereditary. It hits women predominantly more than men. Um, what else, Michelle?
it can manifest in, I think what you read, Georgia, was it the usual time is around 20 or
Yeah.
so, or in your 20s, but it can manifest in teenage years. Mine came out in my early teens. Something as simple as, it was the thing for all the girls in my group at school to do sleepovers at each other's houses, and out of
And sneak out and go make
oh
out with the
no,
boy next
never,
door.
no,
And
we would hold our rosaries and sing country music. No.
yeah.
but see, I never, out of I was talking to a friend of mine since the 5th grade, and we were talking about it, and she said out of 100 or so times, there were 2 times that she remembered that I was able to stay the night. And I kept trying, but I ended up calling and going home because I could not do it. It was even at that early age, it was impossible almost. It was, it takes control over you sometimes. So, it manifests in different ways and in different symptoms and different severities, and in my life, it's been under control for long periods of time, and I've had jobs, I've had a life. It's that once in a while, and in a really stressful type situation with triggers or whatever, it comes out, and it's just something you have to deal with. It, you know, so
Um, there are lots of different things that can happen when you experience agoraphobia. Panic attacks are incredibly common. Dizziness, even feeling faint, hyperventilating, sweating, having trouble breathing, all of those lovely things that anxiety does to us. My problem, I'm okay once I'm out. Right, Mater, you're right. Most attacks are caused, but that's huge.
I was about to say that. That's so true.
So you're afraid that you're going to be in the middle of Walmart, or you're going to be wherever. You're going to be at a movie theater, or you're somewhere, and
on a date.
Exactly, and you're so afraid of what could happen if you do have a panic attack or sweating or dizziness or any of that while you're out there, that fear becomes so big that you don't leave your house. And there's so many different ways to get help, and it's not, but just like any other mental health issue, it's not easy to get help in the US. Like I said, with full health insurance last year, I could get therapy if I could pay the copayment. I couldn't necessarily do that for any length of time. I could get medication if I could see the psychiatrist, who is, way more expensive than my regular doctor. And that's with insurance and a job. Then I didn't have insurance for a month, and I couldn't do anything, of course, because I wasn't working and didn't have the insurance either. And now I have qualified for state insurance, which will 100% pay for my prescriber.
Nice.
The therapy that I need.
Really nice.
Everything that I couldn't get even with health insurance, I can now get because I've lost my job and have no income. But it shouldn't be that way.
Shouldn't be that way.
It shouldn't be that way. It should be easier. It should be easier to talk about. It should be easier to get help. I was telling Cunning today, I used to live I lived in Louisiana for 20 years. And I read an article that some group is trying, maybe it's even the state, is trying to open up a mental health facility in the capital, Baton Rouge. They're now on about their fourth or fifth city of trying, because nobody wants the mental health facility in their backyard. And until, it's not a prison, for God's sake.
Right.
But people fight that as well.
The stigma.
Right. The stigma, they've been trying for years to get a place for people. Yeah, Italian Princess, you're right. Mental health treatment in this country is a joke. It's horrid, and it's just insult to injury, that it's hard enough for everybody to talk about and deal with. Um, my symptoms are different than Cunning's. My problem is actually physically leaving my house. But once I'm in the car, or once I'm in somebody else's car, I'm like, woohoo, I'm free and I'm car dancing. Okay.
Okay.
There's a little bit of anxiety while I'm out that goes along with it, but I think that's the difference between what I'm going to call pandemic agoraphobia and an agoraphobic that has dealt with it for years and years and years. The treatments are going to be similar, medication and therapy, cognitive therapy, whatever.
And there are things you can do.
Right.
If you can't, without the therapy, there are things that you can do in the situation to help yourself. There are coping techniques that you can do, and that's very empowering to have that. I think that some of the little tricks and stuff have helped Georgia, and she's in turn reminded me when I needed it, and we kind of help each other. So
my daughters do something different. Michelle and Cunning and I both react to, both have different things that work for us. And my daughters, they're not agoraphobic, but they have anxiety. They do a different, more of a counting exercise. I react better to breathing, to a breathing exercise, which is a little bit different than what Cunning does. Hers is a breathing exercise as well, but different than the one that I do.
She does
the
like
main
that.
thing.
She does like that deep, heavy, sexy breathing, right?
Yes.
She just does that all the time. She just does that all the time.
Sorry, I just a touch of levity there. And while I'm talking,
No, I gotcha.
While
Yeah.
I'm talking about it, it just as you ladies have been talking, it just kind of dawned on me. One of my favorite shows, and still in rerun is one of my favorite shows, is The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
And they had a character that was incredibly shy, it kept running out on dates, with Raj, one of the main characters.
Yeah.
And she would, she would get so nervous that she'd have to put antiperspirant over her entire body, and would end up sweating out the top of her head because she would get so nervous in these situations. And
it's a real thing.
and I'm curious because I laughed. Is that insensitive?
No.
Or is that normalizing conditions by allowing people to see it in a way that is not off-putting to them?
There's a big, big difference between what you just did, where we can laugh about something, and making fun of somebody for something they can't control.
Exactly.
Cunning, what is it you always tell me? Because we joke about it a lot. What do you always tell me when we get off the phone?
She's like, well, I'll call you so and so, and I'm like, I'll be here.
Yes, of course you will.
Because why not? You have to try and laugh when you can, and deal with it when you have to, and and every day is new. And I am. My therapist called me a committed agoraphobic, and that she probably meant I should be committed, or maybe she meant that I am. Practically my whole life have dealt with that anxiety and that fear, and so for me, it's about getting out of my comfort zone and because I'm perfectly happy to stay in my house and be, I love my home and I love my backyard and gardening, and I'm happy there and I feel safe and I don't have to deal with the anxiety density as much if I don't push it and go to those situations. But you can't really live. I can't live the quality of life I want to live that way. So
I
I I
How,
fi- I I make
how,
myself do it.
I was going to ask about how do you have like priority levels? Like, I'm not going outside and risk myself for something minuscule. If my
Yes, I
say if my son's
absolutely.
having if my sons have an appointment, or if my sons have an appearance and they're going to do a performance, no matter what, I'm going to make myself go there. Is it like
exactly.
that? Is it like that?
Yes,
For
yes.
me,
I
it is.
mean,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. And I mean, I was at every graduation, every thing that I could possibly be at, and that, of course, that helps you actually. That priority and that love and that yearning to be there helps you fight it. So that's a good thing. And for my eBay, I do. I do. I deal in collectibles and glass and odd things I find that are interesting. So that's
That's why
based
you started
on
watching
thrift.
my show.
That's
Yes, exactly.
Odd things you find interesting.
that's exactly why, Barry. I can tell you. That's why I started watching most of these shows. Actually, that's why I'm on the show probably. But yeah. So if thrift storing, that's what I do. I go to thrift stores and yard sales, and I always stay ahead so that, in a time when I'm not able to go out, I can, I have my things that I can list and they're there, but that wanting to go out and thrift store and treasure hunt, that drives me to want to breathe through it and make myself do it. So,
Is it easier to go to yard sales and thrift stores if there aren't a lot of people around, or
oh
does
yes,
that impact?
yes. It absolutely does. And I realize that I didn't realize this for a long time, but what I tend to do is go. I do things at a time when I know there won't be a lot of people. I'm going to be the first one in line, usually at the thrift store when it opens, or early in the morning. It's I I think I may have become an early morning person because it's calmer, it's um, quieter in a lot of places.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
that makes the environment makes, yeah, a huge difference.
Okay,
Huge.
so if I show up outside your place with a limousine with a hot tub in the back, you'll come out
Yeah.
Um,
if it's just me. But if I've got like six other people with me, you're just going to wave from the window.
you know what, Barry? I have a Xanax and smoke a little, and
There you
I
go.
would
Half a
be,
Xanax, and here we go.
and I would be doing my breathing, and I would be in that hot tub. That's what I would do. I
Awesome.
might be having a panic attack, but I would
You
damn sure drive.
might have a panic attack, but yeah.
Yes, Mater, always stay close to the door. You always know where the exits are and where they are in terms of where you are. That is so true. And you do that without thinking.
Okay, I do that. Any restaurant I go, any building I go into, first thing I do is figure out how I'm going to get the hell out of there if I need to.
That's smart. That's smart.
But I never looked at it as, because I looked at it as there's too many damn people that have guns that shouldn't have in
Right.
our
Yeah.
country,
See,
and
with
one of them
me,
might be here.
exactly. And but see, like that includes if you go into a gas station, if you go into Walmart, if you go to
Anywhere.
into a school, anywhere, you're very aware of of your escape route. I mean,
Okay. So it's like
that.
it's like an over heightened sense of vulnerability.
An over, yeah, causing extreme fear.
Okay.
Yes,
An over, yeah.
It's a fight or flight response. I mean, it really is in the
That's
moment
just
a lot of
constant
times.
nonstop. It's not just I mean it's
Well,
just I
no,
mean
it
not
will ebb
nonstop,
and
but
flow. Yeah,
okay. All right.
it'll ebb and flow, and sometimes they're easier than others. Um, you know, like I said, certain things help. For like, for instance, having someone with you, go with you, that you're familiar with and feel safe with. You know, a friend or a family member that you
That
trust.
least
That
that
helps.
lessens
It
the
does. It
anxiety.
does. It really helps. Yeah.
Okay.
Little things
See, and
like
I
if
feel
you're in a
better
grocery
going,
store. I'm
I
sorry.
feel better. I feel better going alone. I feel more in
I'll see.
control when it's only me. And I know that's unusual. Um, yeah,
Well, everybody's different, you know.
right. That's what I'm
But
saying. That's how
yeah,
the symptoms and everything can be different.
yeah,
Georgia,
and it's all
You're
okay.
about just Georgia, you're just about you need to get out of the door. Once you get out of the door, you're
Right.
okay most of the
I'm
time.
I'm almost
Oh,
okay.
Cunning.
Uh-oh.
Yep,
I'm almost okay when that happens. You might need to put the link up for her again if
I'm
she
going
fell
to.
off.
Yeah.
I'm almost okay. I'm a little bit I'm on edge. Let's put it that way. I'm not 100% relaxed. The anxiety for me and how I deal with it is I basically fool myself when I have to get ready to go somewhere. Um I um I get on the phone with either Cunning or my youngest daughter and I talk about bullshit while I'm putting on my shoes and getting on my clothes and getting my stuff ready. I distract myself and then I say, "Okay, I'm going to go right out the door," and I just fly out the door as fast as I can. Um, and I that's to say that I am on a streak right now. I left my house yesterday to come to my daughter's. I'm staying at my daughter's for a few days right now. I
Nice.
had not stepped. I can step outside my front door. I have a beautiful wraparound porch,
I
but I
love
can't.
those wraparound porches. My
Right,
gosh.
and I can do that. But I had not gone anywhere um, in 2 months. I haven't left. I had not until yesterday. I had not left my house in 2 months. Now, one thing that differs, another thing that differs about Cunning and I, and our symptoms and our treatments and different things like that. I'm not comfortable. I want to be out in the world again. I just don't want to be I don't want to be afraid anymore. I'm sick of it. I really want to now that I have the state insurance and I can get the therapy and everything that I need, I'm just praying to God because I'm like really freaking social. And so to have been so like made my world so small the last 18 months is is horrible, even to the point where I live in the same city with 3 of 5 of my kids and I really only see one of them with any regularity. And I want this over.
You want
Medication. I
your
want to be
And
normalcy
normal.
back.
I want to be normal.
and I'm abnormal, and I'm used to that,
Right.
and and
Abnormal's not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, Abby Normal's
no,
not bad.
absolutely.
Now, if you
I
go
li-
young Frankenstein
You're
and you use the
exactly.
Abby normal brain, you know.
I'm good with it. Yeah, I'm good with it. Like, but I'm comfortable with it because I'm used to it, and I've dealt with it for a long time, and so I'm comfortable with the fact that I have it.
And
know,
and she is
but I
way,
still don't.
you
Sorry?
are way far ahead of me in terms of you've had specific therapy to deal with that, among other things.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah.
I'm coming from a deficit here, and luckily, Cunning and I have each other. And it's bizarre that in
Yeah,
this shit show
It is
that's gone
crazy.
on,
it
that
is.
that
And
that
see,
the
that's
two
what
of
I was
us,
going to say.
yeah,
I'm antisocial. So what I found, you know, when you're in a like Georgia said, a smaller, when you take your world and make it smaller, you know, there are
Hmm.
going to be some things that you lack, and that community and that socializing, you know, it's lacking. So for me, all of the shit show, you know, without the shit, the good stuff
was the
that's come
community.
out of
Yeah.
it, it's really been, you know, a big part of my life and world, and getting better, part of my recovery, because, you know, I have friends, even though they're online, and except, you know, Georgia is real, IRL, and I feel, you know, a companionship and a friendship with a lot of you. So that has really broadened my community. You know, it's been amazing. It's nice.
I'm actually really good artificial intelligence.
I knew that.
I'm the I'm like the
You're the
beta
I knew.
manifest.
test. Yeah.
No,
You're the
see, it's the hair.
manifestation.
No, the hair told me. I knew it. Nobody
The
can have
hair.
hair that
Yeah,
perfect.
it's not
Nobody.
real. It's not real. It's,
You're the
you know.
manifestation of Cunning's imagination.
It, mine and every other woman on here,
Oh,
probably.
please. Give me a break. That's not, no. No.
So, you know, one of the,
Long haired guys are out. It's bald bearded dudes that rule now, you
oh
Oh,
know.
dear
hell
God,
no.
if I have to look
Ugh.
at another bald bearded
No,
dude,
yeah,
I
bald
swear to
bearded
God,
dudes rule now. You
no,
know,
no.
me and Thor. Outside of me and Thor, um,
You're welcome, Sable.
Sable, you're so welcome. Like,
You know, and it's very one of the things that I'm discovering, and I'm not. There are several people that I've met over the last however long this shit show has been, um, with exactly the same situations, whether it's anxiety or a panic disorder or it's agoraphobia, whether it's a lifetime of having dealt with it or, you know, the last 18 months of having dealt with it. There are so many more of us. There are definitely more women, but we, at a time when we were all over on another platform almost every day, there were a couple of,
it's okay to say "do show" here. I don't mind.
no, I never even knew what the dojo was.
Oh,
Um,
I've never been to
we,
the Doe show. Sorry,
we
Doe.
would, we
then
would,
don't ever say that on here.
yeah, there you go. There were a couple of men that opened up and shared, that they suffered as well.
Oh, I know. Okay, I know what. Never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, you know, I guess just it goes along with really everything that you were talking about earlier. Like, if we don't get our shit together as a society, then if the shit does hit the fan, then we won't make it. You know,
There'll be
it,
cannibalism in 72 hours.
there you go.
And that's
I
for
don't,
real.
I
That's not,
don't,
you know, and
I
people,
would,
we need to stop it. We
would
need
you
to,
ever dream of making fun of someone who was chronically depressed or a
no,
schizophrenic?
no, but I'm
Or,
not, you know, I'm a
yeah,
good
I
guy.
mean, you know, even if you're angry,
No,
but you know, but again, in a situation like this where we're talking about it, and you know, Cunning and I can make jokes about, you know, I'll be here, but making fun of people, and just adds to that stigma. What if somebody doesn't have the backup that we do?
right.
Yeah.
We both have
You're
pretty,
both there for each other,
we're
always.
here for each other, and we have family,
Right.
And we
that
have people online, like in the chats, and
right.
you know,
And
but yeah,
and what if somebody else doesn't have that? And what if that
exactly.
anxiety is more, leads somebody more to, unaliving themselves and not
It
having
it
the
happens.
help,
It
not having
happens
the
all the time.
support.
It
Right.
Yeah.
happens.
Giving up.
There are some incredibly vile people in
Oh
the
yeah.
world, and most of them are online,
Yep.
and
Yep.
they will laugh at causing
Yeah.
someone to take their own life.
Or at any kind of pain,
Right. Yeah.
this isn't, and I just can't imagine that. I just can't imagine laughing, pointing and laughing, or making fun of people, or saying, you loser, get out of your house. Um, I wouldn't say that to anybody that I loved and cared about. I definitely wouldn't say it to a stranger, just because it's not something that they deal with. And again, it all goes back to the broader picture of mental health being stigmatized in general, not being able to talk about it, not being able, and we as women are more able to talk about it. It's
Yeah.
even harder for men. Um,
I agree.
and out of the two people that we were, abused about, one was a man and one was a woman, and that's just like, wow, you can't. Men have it a lot harder as far as being able to open up their mouths and share feelings, sharing
Yeah.
feelings and admitting what they might consider a weakness. No, Lisa, you're right. The internet is definitely not for the thin-skinned.
Hmm.
It is, however, for people like me who have a the unhealthy ability to go, fuck it, I don't care what they say.
I think that's a healthy ability,
I was going to
actually.
say that's
Cunning tends to, some people take things more to heart, and I go, I'll get a phone call and she'll say, "Did you see or did you hear?" And I go, she goes, "Aren't you upset?" And I'm like, well, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, she helps me with my not give a fuckism. It's getting better. I
I might
mean,
have a
see, for
little bit.
me,
I might have a little too much of it, but go ahead.
well, for me, like I've been out of um, actual, every week constant therapy for, gosh, I think close to 2 years now, getting on 2 years, year and a half, 2 years. So, just, but I'm still in recovery. I'm still trying to get where I want to be, and so for me, I constantly, I mean, I question myself because I have to do that in order to be honest and get the answers and then go forward and make changes. So it
did
it does make me question myself. Like, is this what I am? Is this, I let it get to me too much.
what was the pandemic harder for you or
Oh
easier for
no,
you?
it was so much easier.
Really?
There was, oh, absolutely, and I'll be honest, it
It,
gave me that excuse I needed. Like, you're not going to argue, you can't argue with that. Well, it's a pandemic, so
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. I mean, everything went to
your
video.
your
Appointments,
normal
and
world became everybody else's
Right.
normal world.
And
it
it
did, it
The
did,
because
world
it
you
yeah,
was
the world
because
you
it was
wanted became the world everybody else had to have.
yep, and
exactly.
because it
It
was
was,
more because it was mandated, or whatever word you want to use, things became a lot easier to get without leaving your house.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, they made it easy. Yeah, I used to force myself, to go shopping. And then all of a sudden during the pandemic, oh no, the best thing to do was have it delivered or call it in and go pick it up. I mean, everything was built towards, it was geared towards making it easier to not leave your house. You know, it was
Okay.
definitely.
All right. Now, there are still people that say there was no pandemic, that the whole thing was fake. I'm serious.
Well,
There are that all of us that got the shot, we're all dead. None of us are going to, none of us survived getting vaccinated,
Got it.
despite the fact that we've been vaccinated and
we're still here.
And we're still here. Does that play into a distrust of the government even more so?
Absolutely. Yes. It makes you wonder if they're not trying to make us not trust them, which makes no sense at all, but it's like that crazy.
I'm back to the stream and the stream being so muddy that neither side knows what's the truth,
Right.
Probably, yeah, including them, whoever they are, probably including them. Like, when there's so many lies, it's all muddy.
I feel like the government as a whole is one big squirrel moment. Like everything's a distraction.
Everything's constantly.
Yep. Look over here. Look over there. Look over here. Believe this. Don't believe that.
Yeah.
Don't believe what's the saying? Don't believe what your eyes are seeing. Or
right. Believe half of what you see and
right.
None of what you hear, or something like that.
Yes, baby, you're right. Some of the conspiracy theories are like batshit crazy. Yes.
It's all, well, yeah, but I don't know, the Matrix, you just gotta be like, I don't know.
Okay, can at least the three of us agree that Venus exists as a planet?
Absolutely.
Okay,
even though I've never seen it, I can believe that
You've never seen it? You've never been to an observatory or?
Well, yes, but I was on substances.
Oh, well.
I grew up in Southern California in the 70s, remember?
Georgia, that was a penis, not Venus. Just in case,
it did exist. Yes,
somebody might have actually shut me up for once.
Really, you can see Venus through a telescope, and not Oxford telescope, but an actual three-legged.
I believe it.
Lensed. Yeah, it's close enough.
I can believe in lots of things I can't see.
Okay, what about, is the Earth round?
Hell yes.
I think it's triangular.
Okay.
Okay.
I've never heard that as an option, but
triangular. You would.
There you go.
You would, Cunning.
I do. I think it's heart shaped.
It's heart shaped.
Star shaped. Okay, I think it's star shaped.
Star shaped.
Maybe it's an oblong. I don't know. But
all right.
if we could just pear shaped. I like that, Mater. Pear shaped.
Pear shaped. Okay.
I like that too.
All right.
I see new globes everywhere.
I would like to.
What can everybody agree on? Absolutely nothing. We can't agree that the Earth is a rather spherical place. We can't agree that birds are real. Of course, squirrels aren't real. I'm totally aware of that.
Obviously.
But,
and ancient aliens. Barry, I thought the one thing everyone would and could agree on was pedos. And even that, can't be agreed on.
No.
I mean, it's crazy. The best thing to do is to find your people. Find your people.
And that takes me back to the tribalism. That takes me back to the tribalism that, if everything does hit the fan, if everything's totally broken down, if it's nothing but survival, you need to have a group of people that you're going to survive with. And you damn sure better have somebody that has some medical knowledge. You better have somebody who knows how to hunt, prepare food. There's some things that, could become.
But something needs to be addressed. Troy?
I want to, yes.
Yeah. Do you have a suggestion for Troy, Cunning?
We should both give our suggestions because, as we've said, everyone is different and every
Yep.
Wow,
situation is
Troy.
different.
Sorry about that, but
My
condolences.
suggestion is to, first of all, be there and listen.
Exactly.
Be there in the way that they need you to be. If they need you just to sit and be there and be quiet and listen, fine. If they need hugs, fine. If they don't, fine. But also, what you can do is speak with a therapist yourself and
Ask
get
somebody with that
tools.
knowledge, right?
Yeah,
Right.
you can get tools to pass on to someone and to do it with them and help. Of course, always the goal, probably, in my opinion, should be to get them to a point, help them move to a point where they can reach out for therapy, at the very least, therapy and someone to talk to, but be there for them. Be there and listen and find out what tools there are tools you can do in situations of extreme anxiety. You can do breathing, counted breathing. Of you breathe in for a certain count. It can be 5, it can be 7, it can be 3. You breathe in for that many, you hold it for that many, and you let it out for that many. And the main thing is that you're focusing on counting and controlling your breathing. And you're when you're focused on that, it helps ease the other stuff that's happening. And and go ahead.
No, I agree 100%. I like the idea of even speaking with a professional yourself and asking that question because we are not therapists. We are two women that have, number one of us has been in therapy for this a very long time, and one is going into it in the very beginning stages of trying to get help. So, 100% be there for that person in any way you can and whatever way they need, but ask a professional, call a therapist, or if you have a relationship with a therapist or someone that you can ask, do it, see what they suggest, um, you know lead them to, maybe they would talk to in an online group situation as opposed to going somewhere and or speaking with a therapist one-on-one. They might be more prone to, they might be more open to a
Like an
group setting. Right,
anonymous
right,
setting
exactly.
online.
And depending on where you live, there are resources, or not. So I
Does
know what state you're in, but I don't know, Troy, if that person is in the same state. Getting help is difficult in the state where Troy is. I know
does
that from personal experience.
does is your personal space, I mean, if somebody gets too close to you, is that a trigger, or is it all
It is for
primarily
me.
location?
It's not a trigger for me, but don't touch me if I'm having the issue, if I'm currently having an anxiety
Yeah,
attack or panic attack
yeah,
or whatever. If I'm
Yeah, I was
currently,
wondering if it was a tactile actual,
yeah,
like,
don't touch.
yeah.
Don't, and that's,
okay.
And
and I don't know.
don't ask. Probably not asking questions helps because
That's
talking in
kind of
that
what I
moment
do.
is right.
Cunning
My
will,
first response is to say, "Are you okay? Is there anything I can do? Would you like to?" But that's not. You need to probably stop as much outward
I'll tell
things
you,
going on as possible.
I'll tell
Okay.
you what
You
I
know.
did with my mom. My mom is in the later stages of dementia now, but when she was first going into it and was realizing what was happening to her, it was causing her tons of anxiety, and I spoke with her occupational therapist, who so I would sit down next to my mom, and I would literally with one finger, I would just kind of pet her hand. So I was touching just a tiny bit. I didn't say anything, and then I also had this oil thing that smelled like peppermint, and so I would put it on her wrist, and she would hold it up to her nose and smell it while I was rubbing her hand. So we're smelling, we're touching, and then we would put on music that she decided was calming for her, and so she's listening. And then lastly, she would put an Altoid in her mouth. So she was tasting, and she was hearing, and she was feeling the touch, and she was smelling, and we could get it under, I could get her to come back to me. I could get her under, she could get herself under control by doing that. That's not possible with her now. But she doesn't have anxiety about the fact that she doesn't remember anything anymore, because she doesn't know that she doesn't remember. But in the beginning, that's what it was for her. For her, that worked. The touch, the sight, the sound, the smell, and the taste.
Yeah, grounding. You need, sometimes
Right.
you need grounding.
And
To
sometimes
pull
I
you
had
out
to,
from where you
sometimes
are.
I had to do it 5 times an hour. Sometimes it was when, a therapist was in there with her, and we had to do it anyway. I got her used to it. It became a habit for her, so that I was able to actually leave the peppermint oil with her, and she could do it herself. It was sometimes hard for her to remember that did give her relief, but she'd usually call me, and I'd say, "Okay, Mom, what are we going to do? Do you have your peppermint? Do you have your Altoids? Let's get the radio on." And she would know that she needed something. Um, and it's going to vary from person to person. I personally don't tell me what to do, and don't a touch is one thing. Arms are a hug, even though I'm a big hugger, a hug would probably freak me out.
Yeah, no, don't touch me, and I don't need music, or like, I need to just, I kind of
I
get
need
fetal,
quiet.
and yeah, I need to just and then but then also, if you're just in a fetal position and there's no music and nothing going on, you can tend to focus too much on the anxiety, which is not good either. That's why the breathing and counting helps. It pulls your focus from the anxiety. I also put my email in the chat. I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
For anyone ever seriously that just needs to talk, or reach out, questions, anything at all, there's my email. So
you've
you're
kind of
not
been
alone.
YouTube kind of been watching the chat and have kind of addressed questions.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if there, we get here towards the end, if anybody has any questions, do you want to take a few questions as well?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it
Yes,
was,
please.
we did that on purpose. We talked about it beforehand, that we wanted to be proactive in watching the chat in case
Okay.
there was anybody that
Yeah,
had
I'm
questions.
glad you did, because I
Yeah,
don't. When I get in conversations,
right,
I
right.
focus and I forget,
I'll
I
tell
can.
you, the main thing that I noticed is that so many people, deal with anxiety and panic attacks, and it's such a horrible thing to go through. It really is, and it's so heartening to see this many people in here that come from kind of all over, and they're all talking about it and reaching out and helping each other, giving advice, talking about symptoms. And I know I say it so many times, but it's so important to know and realize that you are not alone, because it does feel like you're alone and that you're weird and the only one, and that, you know, you can't talk about it, but it helps. It helps to know you're not alone. It helps to talk about it.
I
And I just wanted to say that, you guys, that's awesome.
I
Yeah,
think I
keep
had a
their
panic attack once. Um, it was at it was at one of the Rolling Stones concerts, and I was in the middle of this massive crowd,
oh
and
wow.
the crowd wasn't moving, and it was incredibly hot, and I started feeling like I was having trouble breathing,
Yeah.
and I started feeling like I wanted to just do anything I could possibly do to get out of that situation.
See, that gives me anxiety just hearing it.
Yes,
It
I'm
really
sorry,
does.
that wasn't
No,
the
no,
that's a
no.
intent.
panic attack.
You know,
Yeah,
and the other
I've
thing
had
is
several coming on here,
there are,
honestly.
yeah,
Do
exactly.
what?
This wasn't easy for us to decide to do, and it was Cunning's idea.
I
I'm
know.
in kind of a rough state of mental health right now, and I wouldn't have come up with this subject right now without without her suggesting it, and I'm glad that she did
Yeah, because
because
I
it's
was
important.
suggesting playing hide the pickle. So,
Right, exactly.
you
Exactly.
know,
That's next week.
yeah.
Yeah.
Next week.
But
We're going to come up with a game for that.
you know, there are so many, all of it just to say, you know, don't tease each other. There are certain things, you know, teasing and joking is one thing among friends. Ridiculing and trying to shame people is another. Um, you know, if you're going through it, realize that a lot of other people are too.
Yeah.
Try different things, reach out for help. I'm so freaking happy that I have the coverage now that I can reach out for help. I am looking forward to a therapy that is probably going to be a little bit painful, you know, emotionally painful, but I'm ready for it. And there are so many different things that can be done from medications, and a lot of people don't want to do meds. Um, uh, Pot helps some people. It doesn't work for me. It does. I can't take any. I can't do CBD. I can't do anything with THC in it, so it doesn't work for me. There's all kinds of new stuff. Well, it's not really new, but it's legal now, at least where I live. With mushrooms and ketamine and microdosing. You know,
Hmm.
um, there's help out there. And what works for me doesn't work for Cunning. But we do have similar symptoms enough that we can sympathize and empathize um and help each other, because there are times we decided at one point that we should probably designate a day of the week because we were both having panic attacks on the same days, and it was not convenient.
Yeah, we had to start taking turns being the center of the universe.
Yeah, she'd be like, okay,
So
you know,
it works for us.
yeah, you're the center of the universe today. Yeah, Sassy, Sassy, that's what I'm looking into now as well. Um,
But whatever it is, try, you know, reach out, try what you can and get help. Like whatever it is, if it's meds, that's okay. And if it's other kind of meds, natural, that's okay. Whatever works and what helps,
and
you know,
one thing I
it's
wanted to
okay.
say about medications, I'm not, I put off taking medications for a year. And medication, I finally, you know, went with it, listened to my doctor and went with it. But um, medication can only get you so far as well. Um, what I need, and my doctor even said to me, you know, there's you need therapy. We need to do therapy. This is not, you can't just take meds and have it all go away. So my
Yeah,
goal
you have
now,
to face
yeah,
what's causing
yeah,
the original feelings.
the meds help me with the immediate, oh shit, and the depression that's lovingly decided to come alongside my anxiety. Um, but it's not the answer. It's not the only answer. I toughed it out for over a year, and am I better now? Yeah, I'm better, but I'm still not, I'm still not 100% functional, and I want to be. So there are lots of help. There's lots of different things you can do. Don't suffer alone. Talk to a friend. Email Cunning. I'm not nice enough to give you my email.
I noticed that.
But you can find me on Twitter. You can Cunning's much nicer. You can find me on Twitter, and
Not true.
I will. I know it's not. And I will be sympathetic and empathetic and loving and kind and give any kind of advice that I can as well. So,
All right. All right. Well, we're coming up here on the 2-hour mark. So
that's awesome.
Pretty good time to.
That went fast.
Pretty good time to shut it down.
Thanks
for listening, y'all. Seriously.
Yeah, and BKM, I agree, and Sassy, I agree with what you said as well. I mean, there's no one thing that's going to work for everybody. It's meds or no meds, therapy or no therapy, microdosing, whatever the hell it is. Different types of therapy.
I learned a couple of things. Aaron Rodgers, the quarterback for the Green Bay Packers, he's about to be released. He's going to be a New York Jet. Anyway, he does this ayahuasca.
Yeah.
And he did a 5-day darkness experience. He went into this blackout room. And he was in there for 5 days with no light, no nothing, no sound, just him and his thoughts. And he went in thinking that he was going to retire from football as a Green Bay Packer and be done with this. And he came out totally changed, and that he had a fire inside him that was yet to be quenched, and he was now going to go play for another team and win another Super Bowl and prove his greatness, blah, blah, blah. And then a little later in a program, Jeremy Piven, who played Ari Gold in Entourage, one of a series I talk about, Jeremy Piven was on a show, and the host asked him, so you're talking about ayahuasca? And he said, no, I did the toad. And he was talking about how he did the actual crystallized DMT, I believe is the name of the chemical.
Holy moly.
And he said the purpose of him, that they told him the purpose of him doing it was to get as close to death as possible to understand the value of life.
That makes sense. I mean,
it made sense to you. To me, it was just like, why in the world do I want to do something to get me as close to death as possible? But to some people, it makes total sense.
And that's the thing. Different things for different people.
Right.
Yeah. And everybody's affected differently, and everybody needs something different, and everybody should consult with CKM Music.
I already am.
I agree.
I already am.
Absolutely.
CKM and I were getting ready to write a hit song.
Oh, awesome.
That's going to just, it's going to be #1 on iTunes and Spotify. And,
excellent.
And
I can't wait.
And we're going to take you all with us. It's not like we're going to explode and be these famous people and forget about y'all. No, we're going to take y'all with us.
Oh, good. So, good. Yeah. You're welcome, Lori. And thanks you guys for.
Well, not all of you. We're not going to take all of you. We can't take all of you.
Only the people that can fit. Only the people that can fit in the
right
in the RV.
Is that agoraphobic humor? I'm wondering.
Just the first 6.
Just the people who can leave their home.
Just the first 6 that click on the link. Okay, that's all we're going to
do. Curtis Cardwell, good evening.
Hi, Curtis.
Thank you.
Good evening. Thank you for getting here.
Lori, thank you.
This might be one you want to go back and watch. This might be one that people might recommend others watch.
I hope so.
Hit the
That would be
subscribe, hit the share, hit the
yep.
notification, hit the like, all of those things. I think there's some information in here from the beginning all the way to here where we're about to end it. There's information that people need to have, I think.
I hope so.
I do. I think this is, we have a blast when we do the funny stuff, and people love it. But this is a conversation that not only needed to be had tonight, but needs to be had more often. And
Exactly.
not only about what the two of you are dealing with, but there are so many things people are dealing with that there aren't a lot of places to talk.
Yeah,
So,
you're right.
So I need to be aware of that and do more of this, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think it matters. Yeah, it matters. And the main thing is anyone that gets shamed or anything like that, just remember it's you're not doing it on purpose, and you're not alone, and there is no shame in that game.
No.
Seriously.
Yep.
All right.
Love you, Doofus. I hope you're feeling better.
I am.
Praying
Thank
for
you. Thank you, Georgia, very much.
You
so.
sound better.
I am.
Tonight.
I'm better.
Yeah.
Each and every day I'm getting better. Yeah.
Good.
And your hair still looks fabulous.
Thank
You've
you.
got more.
I swear.
Yeah, Mater.
I'm not jealous.
Mater, would it make you feel better if I yelled at you tonight?
What?
I don't feel like yelling at you, Mater.
Mater, stop being so awesome. Stop it.
Did you say you were jealous of my hair? Cunning, did you say
Of course I am, sure.
You've got better hair than I do.
I do.
You do. I know you do.
She does.
I know she does. She got better hair than I do. She got prettier eyes than I do. She got a greater.
No, let me tell you, I think my hair is as good as yours. I won't say it's better. Yours is pretty awesome. I don't know.
All right. All right.
Love you.
Good night, y'all. Thank
Love you guys. We'll see you next Wednesday night, if not before.
Sounds good. Talk to you later. Bye.
By Cunning, Stunt, and GA from CA. Seriously, this is an episode that I hope you recommend to people. Some information in there from the two ladies that might impact someone's life. And I'm blessed to be able to do this, and I'm incredibly grateful for them to come on there. And obviously my sinuses are starting to impact here. So, I'll close things down. Telescope's probably going to be on. If not, and you haven't seen it yet, go to Damnation Drive-In, Sam Singe and Baldy Banks. Just look up Damnation Drive-In, you'll find them. And if you haven't seen it, go there, subscribe. They're trying to get to 500. I'd like to help them. They're just a few people away, a few subscribers away. So go over there and subscribe. And if Telescope's not on, I'm going to go rewatch. I'm going to go watch their replay. Again, starting on Monday, we're moving to 10 o'clock. Instead of starting at 9, we're going to start at 10 Eastern Daylight Time. So we'll be starting at 10, 9 Central, 8 Mountain, and 7 Pacific. That starts on Monday. Tomorrow night, we'll be doing it at 9 o'clock again. And we're going to have some kind of fun night. We'll do the news briefly at the start, and then we'll do game night or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And if you got any ideas, if you'd like to be a part of something, hey, email me. You never know what's going to happen. Email americandufus@gmail.com. Cashapp is $, all one word, AMERICANDUFUS. Thank you so very much for watching. Greatly appreciated. Namaste. Shalom. Salam. Assalamu alaikum. Blessings be upon you from the Most High, in the name of his Son, Christ Jesus, with the power of the Holy Spirit. Positive vibes, positive vibes, positive vibes. Much love. Mono. Peace. It's a dark world. Try to be a light. I love y'all. See you tomorrow night at 9. We'll have some fun. Until then, be blessed. Love each other.